Okay, so I got home. I'm freaking exhausted. I did not want to wake up this morning. And I must have been really conked out and sleeping super hard or something because I hurt my neck sleeping. Oh my gosh, it gave me the worst migraine. My neck is just killing me. And then plus holding your arms up for so long, there is like parts of your body start hurting driving for a long distance. Your knee going up and down, especially when it got to the last part was traffic. My knee and my foot and my shoulders and my hands. It was like, oh my gosh. That was so there's so many things. I mean, it's been like a couple days since I've talked, so there's so many things. I'm gonna definitely be all over the place. And I will probably have to do several videos to talk about everything that was coming to me. So I'll start with the drive. So I had driven up north. I was going to drop off all of those, all of these necklaces for everybody in my ex's family. You know, that's my kids' extended family. You know, that's their family. So I care about them all. I love them all. They're very sweet people. And, you know, my ex is very involved with the kids and the grandkids. You know, he's a big part of their lives and stuff. So, you know, I take their health serious as well as everybody in my family. So, you know, because my daughter's ex, well, the one, I didn't get him one, but he's really, really struggling. I don't know what's going to go on. He's one that's got to save himself. He's got schizophrenia, and you know, he's been spiraling out of control. A lot of schizophrenics, they take drugs. You know, a lot of people use drugs and alcohol. Well, all different kind of coping skills. Like I was a shopaholic, workaholic. That is just as toxic as any of the other ones. So there is no one that is worse or better or whatever. So no matter what coping skills someone uses, it is just as toxic as any of them. So I was really, oh man, I was something that was hitting me hard while I was driving through these places and looking at these people, you know, because I like my higher self doesn't let me just judge somebody. Like I'll start being like, oh my God, I can't believe these people, you know, how they choose to live and stuff like that, you know, and then right away they'll tell me, oh, I start pointing out what I did to live in that kind of rat race world. Now I was oblivious. I didn't see it. I didn't understand it. And this is the same what's happening with so many of these people. But one of the things, see, I'm telling you, I'm going to be all over the place. One of the things right when I started to leave, no, I was towards the end of my thing. I think I was about to get into Olympia. So I had already crossed across California and Oregon. And then my brother called me. And the fireman brother, the one who's been super sick, who said he would wear one of these. And I had sent a message to my other brother and said if he would. And he said no, he wouldn't. So I'll just tell you that what my one brother told me. And that brother, he was explaining all of his stuff about like his Dovik, you know, and what happened and how he got so sick, and then he got sicker, and then he got a little better, and then he got way sicker, and then he got a little better, and then it was just abruptly gone. So he was explaining this whole thing to me. But see, he has limited understanding. This is the thing too about science. It's all about putting out what is it, it is the idea. I can't think of there's a word that it's called, but it's like a concept. It is an idea. And then science has to go in and different people try and prove or disprove the thing by data, by looking at this. Okay, well, let's look at this. Well, let's look at this. That's why we are a science experiment. That's why they're looking at all these different things and about DNA. So you have different DNAs in different pockets. And it came to me so hard about the different realities and the grid that we travel through. Traveling all those distances, I think that there is certain places that they don't have access to is in the same kind of control. You know, like if you looked at the lands of Earth and you put the grid over it, I think that there's places which we call portals that are still open and available for a different kind of vibration. Because I had some weird shit happening, weird as fuck shit happening on this drive. And then when I was traveling the interstate, I really saw that this is like a portal between. This is an experience right here. The drive, this experience, this reality is its own separate reality. And it's a portal from one reality to the next, which we're told we have to use to get there. We have to fly or we have to drive to get from reality to reality. All you got to go is one city and then be in another city and see it's totally different realities. It's not people all living in the same reality, no matter if they think they are or not, because they're all living in America or whatever. No, it's very individual. And on top of that, each individual place is under its own experiment. It's got its own login, you know, like, oh, this place. And all the data and stuff they keep in these, you know, supercomputers, and we're just numbers. But still, we are in that experiment. The what is hypothesis is so they come up with the idea, and then you have to try and disprove or approve or you know, show that it's right. And so, because I have some stuff about that, you know, I've got my own science experiment going on this frequency in the towers and stuff, because I was really paying attention to some shit while I was driving. So but let me finish about my brother real quick. So the one brother, he was telling me some stuff, you know, and the one brother's having a really hard time. So when he goes to the doctor, he has no idea what's happening. And I went through that for a long time. When your brain gets broken, it's scrambling. It doesn't work the same. It takes a long time. Like once it's been interfered with, like, you know, like I said, I'm like 11 years in, because my brain injury happened in Valentine's of 2009. So I am, you know, I'm far into my healing with it and saving myself, because it has to do with that, you know, and it has to do with what you know inside. And I was talking about this beforehand, and this is kind of what trips me out too, is because I was talking about this before I left, about I might have talked about it while I was gone. I don't remember. Everything is a blur, which I think is something that it needs to be. We don't need to be micromanaging memory. We need to be current in the experience, be present in every single moment. And there's so much about that I want to talk about. But being present in every single moment is the part of life that we need to focus on, not all of the other stuff. And so being present and going, see, I've got so many things. It's going to be really hard to keep it all straight. That's why I said it's going to take me several, and it's going to probably be all over the place, because, you know, while I was driving it, and I couldn't be talking, it was just like insight after insight, or download, or whatever you want to call it. Like they're constantly showing me perspective and understanding about things. Plus I want to talk about the med beds, and I want to talk about the results and all of that stuff. But so I want to go back to this thing about my brother, because I had been talking about every soul knows deep in its heart what it's here for. Like I know deep in my heart that I am here for this other part of what's going to happen. And, you know, and I don't know if it is going to be some split, some rapture, if it is going to be people separating and going in these different directions. I have no idea. I don't know how it's all going to play out. And it is trippy, because it's like we're watching it play out in real time. Like, and it's kind of like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And there's so much stuff that is so intense right now. When I got home last night, it was so fucking weird, because I noticed it as soon as I got out of my car. I felt like the ground was rumbling, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And so I had, I had to just power through. I don't have time to sit and stress. Just like while I'm driving and all of a sudden the ground goes away, I don't have time to stress. I got to stay focused on what I'm doing, because there's a lot of times, like some of the stuff on the drive, I just want to pull over and cry. I don't even want to keep going. But you got to power through. You got to push yourself past your points of fear into see what you're made of, basically. And so, and it's about resilience. It's about mental management and, an emotional, like, it isn't about controlling your emotions, stuffing them down. It's about recognizing, release, and a mastery and holding control in a state of balance. Like, you don't let an emotion just go wackadoo way over here. You pull it back in. You look at it. You try and figure out how to balance it, because there's good, bad, it's both sides. There's got both sides. No matter if an emotion feels super negative to us, there's a positive aspect. So you got to pull in and get in balance with every emotion. And so, it's a lot. And people who are on the journey will get what I'm talking about. People who won't, because I'm really, so anyways, my brother, my younger, well, everybody's younger than me. I was the oldest. But my youngest brother, the fireman one, he was saying that because he was talking to the other brother all the time. They were always talking. They had a lot of stuff in common. They're both play guitar. So sometimes they'll just call each other and sit and play guitar together and stuff. Like, they just, are close. And so he said that the one brother told him, he told me that he knew this wasn't going to have a good outcome, but he's okay with it. This is before the surgery that he said, and he was making a point of saying, like, he was saying it when he had all his faculties, that he said, this isn't going to have a good outcome, but I'm okay with it. I'm just going to, do whatever. And then whatever happens. I'm not stressed about it. And so that to me shows, like, he knows. He's like, this is, I'm out, but, you guys get a couple weeks here, because what they're saying, I don't want to get all upset. This is something I'll talk. Fuck. If I can get it out. Because he said he's only got a couple. He said from what the doctors are telling him, he's only got a couple months. From what he understands. And his daughter's very confused about all the medical talk. She has no medical background. This is the bullshit that this Western medicine is. And how Western medicine even wants to go more detached. Look how easy it is to have no relationship with you. Not be in a room with you. Not have any compassion for you. Just be on a Zoom call and tell you what drugs to take. That's what this system is all about. And it's going more detached, more virtual. And it's happening right before us. And it is more of, you're just a number. You're just a number. Here, this is your data. Go take this and let's see what happens. And it is going more into the science of you're just a number. You don't really have anything about anything else. And Amber, yeah, like totally that's the same thing with every single thing they're doing. Our credit score is going to go even further into, because look at how many people are just chasing that credit score. I used to chase it. I used to check my number and shit. Now I'm like, fuck that. And I know it's biting a lot of people right now, but that is the absurdity that we have to experience. So that's why I would stay put wherever you are, like 100%. Like right now, if I could sell my place and just go get a little beach house in Costa Rica or something, I would. Like, but right now the system has me held while it is, falling apart. It's, killing itself. It's a parasite that has fed off of itself. to the point where it's shriveling up and dying, but it's very dramatic because it's in all aspects of our life. So we're a part of it. But this whole thing about credit scores, and they want to turn that into compliancy, well, you lower your credit score if you don't do what you're told. It's like, fuck off with this shit. I'll go fucking I'll go live in the jungle. Like, I swear to God, if Africa was free right now, I'd go and ask if I could join a tribe and just go be with them. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, I don't care about any of this shit. And while I was driving and looking at the stuff and watching and seeing the buildings and every fucking, and doing the interstate, like doing the state highway gives you one perspective. You see what they did to dry up the little towns and to crush the small business out in the independent areas, which are double towered, by the way, and heavily sprayed. And so they are, systematically driving everyone into the city and becoming dependent on consumerism and outdoing your neighbor and having the best car and the cutest outfits and all of that stuff, and where you're going to go eat dinner. Like, they pop up in Applebee's and a Walmart, and the whole fucking world becomes like a magnet around this shit. But that is part of what's inside of people. And so, man, the stuff that I see is on such a different level. It's like I don't know how else to explain it except for, like, they show me kind of like it is energy, but they also show me it as like a micro macro. That's the part that is really hard to explain. The part where it shows to me like how everything is this part of this expansion of everything. Like, it's really hard to explain, but I can see it and I can understand the energy and I can understand how this works. And when I say tune into something, because I was thinking about this too while I was driving, and when I say tune into something, that is to focus on that. If you focus on, like, if I focus on this, I can feel it pulsating. Oh yeah, I want to go. Oh, so when I first got out of the car, the ground was like vibrating and it was tripping me out. And so I came in the house, the ground was vibrating. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, everything is vibrating to the point where I felt almost like I was in a fun house. Like, I couldn't keep my balance on it. And it was really tripping me out. And then I started, getting out my crystals and stuff, all the stuff I had gotten charged. And I had taken some of those Himalayan, I have one in my room that has a light in it. And so I unscrewed it and I just took the salt thing. And it has a whole crystal grid underneath it. So I took that one. And those crystals are all sun charged. And then I had another one that the base had broken. So I just have the salt thing. And then I have a bunch of some of those salt lamps, they come in chunks. So I had a bunch of chunks. So I took all those with me and a bunch of sea salt and stuff to get it charged. And I swear I could feel that vibrating when I opened it. It was so trippy. So, and I really wanted to take a bath. And oh my gosh, I had so much to do. I haven't even finished unloading the car. I just feel like, oh my gosh, I had so much to do. And it was such a long drive. I think it was like, I don't think I left at 2 a.m. I pulled out that driveway at 2:02. I was in the traffic at 2:30. I wasn't home in my area until like 6:30. And then I had to stop at the store. So I don't think I got home till like 7:30. And I was fucking exhausted. And my eyes are just, but still, it woke me up a couple times. And so, in some deep, deep dreams. So I know I need to go back to sleep for a while. So I'm hoping that tomorrow my eyes are going to feel a lot better. But right now they feel like shit. And I'm exhausted and I'm tired. I'm just like, my body is physically exhausted and my mind is mentally tired. But when I came in and everything kept vibrating, and then Stella was like in this panicking kind of like she was just panting. And so I thought, oh, maybe she's shaking the floor. And so I went in and I started my bath after I did so much stuff. But then I went in to start my bath and I put some of that salt in. And I felt like it was really vibrating. And I was like, this is so trippy. And so then I finished doing whatever. And when I got in the bath, the fucking water was moving. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was so trippy. I don't even know how to explain it. It wasn't like a jacuzzi shooting. The water was moving. It was moving. And so, and the one salt things I put in, oh, my nose is itching. The one salt things I put in dissolved. I thought that they would take a long time to dissolve, but they didn't. They dissolved. So I should have taken way more of those, because it was on top of the ground vibrating. I know that salt was super vibrating that water. It was the craziest thing feeling. And so I was just laying in there just thinking about healing and, and just getting more of the toxins out, which could be a part of why I'm having a lot of pain right now. I'm going to do I'm going to make a smoothie later with that diatomaceous earth to get more, I'm just going to keep focusing on the detoxing, because all of the toxins that can't live in a higher vibration, which I feel like I've got my house. Like, I put those salt things all around. I put 4 crystals under Stella's bed. I got her a new collar and I put one on her collar. I have mine on. I put mine in my bed. Then I have that grid around my, in my bedroom, plus that salt thing. And I had that turned on at first. I didn't realize I still had it on when I went to bed. And my whole bed was shaking. Oh my gosh. I could feel the energy, especially if I focused on it. I could feel it so strong. Man, I'm getting itchy all over my face. God. I had so many weirds, and there was so much weird stuff while I was driving too. There was more stuff I want to talk about with my brother, but I want to talk a whole bunch about stuff like that. So I have some more things I want to talk about with that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how itchy all of a sudden I am. But I want to do this drive thing real quick. Okay, so while I was driving through, when I left, I was leaving on Sunday. And I decided, I'll just take those. I wanted to go a different route. I did not want to go back that same route. It was intense as shit with the mountains that I had to cross and stuff. It was really intense. And I was like, man, and going back through the desert and stuff, I was just like, I want to go a different way. So I was looking at the map and looking at the routes, and I was studying all of that. And then I decided, okay, well, Sunday I could go up the 5 and it probably wouldn't hit bad traffic. And then I'll just go up there and drop off their necklaces. And then they have a big farm. I'll ask if I can just put a tent out, sleep there, and then we'll just take off after, a couple hours of sleeping. And so when we got there, and when I had said I was going to drop them off, he said, everybody's gone on a thing. So, the whole house is available. If you want to stay a couple nights, rest. And so, I was going to stay one night when I first got there, but then Stella loved it. Oh my gosh. I think their place is 5 or 10 acres. I'm not really sure. It seems like it's 5, but somewhere in there. But it's all just farm and, like there's there's animals. Oh, it's just really cool. It's like your own little Shangri-La there. It really was like a bubble that was outside of the portal of control. It was weird because like his stuff was growing while other people's is all dying, and his was like growing abundantly. Like it was mental. His stuff was overgrowing. And so Stella loved it there. And when she had stayed at my one daughter's house and he was there, they must have bonded because I don't know, maybe she's got a crush on him. She's never around guys. So I don't know, but she wanted to go down there because the house I was staying in was way up at the top of the property, up at the driveway when you first come in. And so I was in this guest house is way bigger than my house that I live in. So it was not twice this size, but 3/4. I mean, you know, bigger. Like if you took another half of my house and added it on, it could be almost twice the size. I don't know. It was way, way bigger than my house though. So anyways, it was at the top of the property, and then they have the main house, and then his is way back at the back of the property where it's a barn, and then he has like a little place built in the barn. So his place is inside of this barn way at the back. And so every time, and this whole barn, oh my gosh, Stella loved the barn. And she would just wanted to go back there and just lay. She just wanted to lay on this concrete. It was like being outside and inside at the same time. She's so cute, just like a little barn dog. And so she wanted to run back there and she wanted to see him. She'd go up to his door. She wanted to see him. She'd go around to his other door. It was really cute. So every time we go out, she'd cry. She wanted to go out. She'd go running down there to see him. So she was having such a good time, and she loved his little dog. He has a little dachshund, and she loved hanging out with that one. The other two didn't like her. One of them would just kept attacking her face and biting the shit out of her. I felt so bad because she'll still get down there and smell him, and she's just so gentle. You know, a dog can hurt her. I've seen her get her ass kicked so many times, and she'll walk the other way. When I had Millie, and, you know, I tried to rescue that Mastiff, and Millie kept attacking her, and Stella would go between me and Millie. Like this is just what Mastiffs do. They would block them into a corner. Whoever the intruder or the danger, she'll block them into a corner. And so she would block Millie in a corner, and Millie would just be tearing her up. And Stella would just sit there crying and taking it. It was like, oh my God. That last one that happened, I was bawling my head off. I had to take Millie back. I was like, I can't go through this. I cannot put my dog through this. She doesn't deserve it. She's just not a fighter. She's just a sweetheart. And so anyways, she was having such a good time there. And so we ended up staying a few more days. And I was just really a great time. But I would never go backwards in a relationship. Like, I'll move forwards, like, you know, as a friendship. After all these years, I would hope to God we could be friends and aren't holding on to resentment. And now something's in my eye. And I felt like he was giving me triggers that were a blessing for me to be able to see, like, was I triggered? Was I going to start whining or arguing or telling him, like, my perspective and my perspective is the right perspective? No, I just allowed him his perspective, which to me was very limited, which I had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about with that, because I was very much in my analytical mode, watching, especially with him, because he has this connection to nature. I mean, oh my gosh, the stuff he can grow. And he has such a connection with the birds and all of nature. He feels totally in sync with it. He doesn't, it isn't like he is worried about like human interaction as much. He's way more into his connection to creation of growing or something. And he was always like that. But there was more stuff I wanted to talk about with that, because it's very trippy how he is not awake to so much of this stuff. And he follows the narrative. Like, once he starts, you know, telling you the narrative, you always know. It's like, okay, that's exactly what you're told to think. So, you know, it's like right on cue. Oh, here's the narrative. Because, and he was telling me also how brains worked. And I was like, well, brains work very different than you think. Why, you know, what you are and who you are and what your brain is doing is different than what you think. But, you know, like I said, I wasn't going to be triggered and go into arguments. This is for his journey. And the same with my brother. Like, he doesn't want to do anything holistic. And I mean, on the one part where it's like, you know, people, they have that desperation of like, oh, I got to fight this. I'm going to fight this with everything. What is out there, you know? Like the one girl who I had seen who healed herself with stage 4 with the 2 little tiny kids. Now she's 7 years in, but she only had a matter of months. And when they told her, she went into like research and figured out everything. And she went totally holistic and healed herself and has not had anything come back. But see, he didn't have that. His thing was, I'm going to do what they tell me to do. And if it doesn't work, then that's my time. That's my time. So he is going that route, which, you know, I have respect for. But that also comes from an internal, but that was just really significant when my brother told me that he told him beforehand, you know, this isn't going to turn out, and I'm okay with it, I'm ready to go, or whatever. Then to me, it was like, I hope that he's going to, oh man, I have been having the weirdest sensations oh my gosh, while I was driving and stuff, weird stuff. Like I kept feeling like things were touching me, and oh my gosh, it was weird. But okay, I'm gonna go back to the drive again. I told you I was gonna be all over the place. While I was driving, so I left Sunday morning. I left the center at 7 a.m, and so got on the road and you know, wasn't having any traffic, and was going really good, and through LA and stuff. And then I was noticing just the amount of smog was just mind-blowing, how you could just see it everywhere. And I remember that's where I first learned about the chemicals in the sky, and that they create all that pretty colored sunset and stuff like that, was when I lived in Southern California. And I remember how bad it was then. And to me, this is like a million times worse. My ex tried to tell me it's way, way better. I'd say it's way, way worse. But on top of the chemicals, it was, you know, the frequency weapons. So while I was driving, my stomach. Oh. So while I was driving, I was going past when it was kind of like I don't remember when it very first happened, but I know it was like traffic, and all of a sudden it happened, and my eyes started burning, and they started tearing. As soon as they started burning, they started tearing, which feels like, you know, acid in my eyes, the salt on my eyes. But it was even further, it was worse than that, because my eyes started like rolling around inside. Like I couldn't keep them straight. I couldn't see straight. It was like I had gotten sprayed with pepper spray or something. Like it was more than just salt in my eyes. Like that will burn, but this was like so crazy intense. And so when that happened, and I know that I looked over and I saw a tower. So that registered at first. I was like, okay, a tower, chemicals. So then it kept happening and happening. And every time it would happen, I would look up tower, chemicals. And so then I was like, okay, so whatever chemicals, the frequency is definitely doing something to create a really toxic environment, which if you go in and you do any research, you find out like they have different gases and stuff that they use, just like I had talked about months and months ago, where I said sometimes it feels like they just spray something and it just puts you to sleep, like you cannot stay awake. They do that. Go and do the research. You know, when I said it, I didn't know that, but now, like I said, my guides will tell me stuff, or my guides or whatever, the universe will tell me stuff, and then they'll bring me the information. So they'll show me and tell me where it's like I can see it so clearly that I know it, but then they'll bring me more information, you know, like they'll bring me the evidence afterwards to show me like what it is. So to kind of confirm to me, I guess, like that they're telling me the truth. I don't know. So anyways, when there is something, you know, that they can make you upset, they can create more chaos. There's all sorts of stuff they can do with the frequency and the chemicals in each certain spot. And while I was driving and seeing how crazy that these people were all acting, and just so shallow and so just a part of the game, it was like they're just in the game. They're in this video game. They don't even know they're in it. They're just in it. They're just playing their part, and they don't even know like anything, like they even need to get out of it or anything. They're just willing to accept the game as being life. So I was I was like, there's something that they're using these things to create this populace here, because this is weird. Like, this many people, and they're just all willing to just make this their lives. Like, they scurry around like ants that somebody has poured hot water on the anthill. It's like weird. It's just, and I could pick up on the energy. Like, I could feel the energy, and I could feel the energy from the cars. Like, I could feel the whole thing, which is kind of weird now that some of these new cars are looking like tennis shoes. Like, there's something to this whole thing about us as consciousness and how we move and the limitations they put on our movement. Like, there's something to that. I don't know how to put it all together, but they show me these certain things that really stand out in my mind. So there's something to it. But as I was driving, that happened several times. And so then I was just like dreading, because it was scary. Like, I was going super fast. There's traffic. There's all this shit happening. All of a sudden I can't see, and my eyes are rolling. And I was like, oh my gosh, if this is going to be like this for the 14 or 15 hours to get home. It did never happen again. After I got past San Francisco, it never happened again. But it seemed to me, between San Francisco and as far as I went to the south, at Newport, it was just like a big cloud over the whole area. And they're using these things to create the environment, the ecosystem, mental ecosystem of this area. So then when I was driving, then it seemed like through Oregon, I kept noticing, man, they fucking double up on them. They got a big one, they got another big one, like right next to each other, and in some weird places. And so, you know, Oregon is being hit. I wasn't quite sure what was happening, but when I got to Washington State, I did notice, like, because theirs were giant ones, and they would have them hidden like in the trees, and it would just be this giant thing sticking up. And when I would pass those, I would get that strong tickle right in my chest, and I'd have to start coughing. And this is where I think where these people get this idea, oh, I've got the Dova because I keep coughing. But it's not a real cough. It is this weird like tickle in your chest, which I think also, if somebody is not really focused or understand what's happening, they would feel it as anxiety. It feels like this weird anxiety in your chest. And so I would start coughing every time I would go past. And so I was like, okay, so something about these ones, they're doing something different, or the chemicals, whatever, is doing something different than the ones over here and the ones over here. So each place has its own, okay, just a minute, please. Each one has its own separate thing happening. And when I got stuck in the traffic, you know, when we're just sitting there, and this was right outside of Seattle. It was in between Tacoma and Seattle. And we were stopped about a zillion times. And there was a bird. There kept being birds. Every time when I was driving, there kept being these birds, which I kept feeling like is like signs and synchronicity with nature. But so this bird was right next to me, and all of a sudden I felt this strong cough in my chest, and right when I did, this bird flew. It like took off, but it didn't know where to go, and it started doing these circles, and it like, and all of us are stopped like 4 or 5 lanes over each way. And so this bird is like diving down and trying to like it seemed to become very confused. And I was like, man, it's going to crash or something. And another thing too, I've got to go feed her, and I've got so much more to say, so I'll be back. But another thing too is when I was driving, there wasn't hardly any bugs on my windshield. And when I was talking, I said I needed to get some fluid in my wiper thing. So that started the conversation when I was there before I had left, you know. And I said there wasn't very many bugs, but he goes, oh, really? Because remember how it used to be? Like your whole front of your car, your whole windshield would just be bugs. Just, I was like, oh man, yeah, I remember that. It used to be like that. I was like, and he thought, oh, that's good. There's not all these bugs. That's not what I think. I think we're being fumigated like insects, and they're killing off the insects. They're killing off everything. So anyways, I got to go feed her and let her out. But I'll be back because there's way more stuff I want to talk about.